That's the Batman title sequence crawl thing for the original Batman movies. Welcome to The Batman by
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves.
Starring
Robbie P.
Bat and Bat.
Cinematographized by
Greg Fraser.
Greg Fraser.
Fair. I didn't know that.
With a score by
Michael Giacchino.
Michael Giacchino. Oh,
Michael
Oh, is it
pronouncing
Giacchino or
Giacchino. That's how I've been pronouncing it.
Giacchino.
Oh, right.
Ben, with
Or
your
did The
track record, I'm
Incredibles.
going to go with my pronunciation.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, you're stupid.
All right,
for
so
not liking this.
if you haven't already gathered, we're talking about The Batman, the film that came out in 2022.
Oppenheimer.
Was it
2022,
2020?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
All right.
Yeah.
So, give us your experience of this film. Like, when did you first watch it? Was it in the cinema? Was it at home?
I think I watched that the day it came out, and then I think I watched it 2 days later with another group of friends who I convinced to go watch it. Shout out David Batty, he's been on the podcast. He was in the second group. I convinced him by being like, oh, he likes Nirvana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, then I probably watched it when it came out on whatever. I think maybe when it was on like Sky Cinema, one of them craps. And I liked it a bit less that time because I noticed the reuse of locations and the volume, which is Greg Fraser's little tool where they do like a Unreal Engine background. And I was like, oh, very COVID budget situation going on.
Yeah,
so I liked it a
you
bit
did
less.
say that.
Yeah, but then I haven't watched it since probably a year or two ago. And
Okay, I
watching
definitely
it
want to go
again,
back to the volume points.
It's amazing.
Because that is something that I did notice. Like it was like the blurry outer edges, which I've also seen on
Right.
Shogun, I think, when they also did volume
Do
there.
they use it
Oh, I
there?
can watch Shogun.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that.
Shogun, I think it's on Disney Plus. I think it's done by FX. It's based off a novel set in Japan. But that does volume, and that's got a similar look when you got blurry outer edge. Baharoon.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, what were you saying, Matt?
I was just gonna say, like, I don't dislike the volume as a concept, but yes, when you notice it, sometimes it is a bit, it just pulls you out a bit. But yeah, what are you saying, Haroon? What do you think of the Batman?
I love this film a lot, to be fair. I don't know, I just think it's perfect. I watched it when it came out in cinema, and then I didn't actually like it initially, which was
You two
weird.
watched it together, right?
No.
Oh,
No.
So who was the person you watched it with? You said that whenever you watch stuff with him, neither of you take it that seriously. You said that in a work call. I think you said that it was only when you saw it again that you liked it.
Yeah. It's incredibly common for me and this particular affiliate of mine from the past to go to a cinema viewing together and us to watch the movie. And I swear to God, 10 times out of 10, we both hate it. And then he won't rewatch it. And then if I've heard that it's actually got quite good critic acclaim, people have liked it. I speak to Matt and Matt says, go watch that film again. I'll rewatch it and think, holy fuck, that was really quite good. And I loved that. It's the same thing, like it happened with, I swear, I've talked down on Oppenheimer a lot, and I bet when I rewatch Oppenheimer, I'm going to come back and say, I've loved every second of that movie. Maybe, we'll see. But it happened with Avatar Way of Water as well, even though I don't actually love that. But on like a watch
you were
after,
hating
I was
on
like,
that when you came up.
I hated that. And then I've watched it twice since, and I was like, I like this. I like being with these people. I like being with the blue monkeys. I like the water. This is splash, 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 splash.
Let's go swimming with Avatar.
Anyways, yeah, sidetrack. What do I like about this movie other than the fact that it has Nirvana with Robert Pattinson playing Batman and Gollum playing Albert, and it's Albert? Alfred. Sorry. Start with an A. They're both old English names. Give me a break. That's funny, mate. So it's also like I have criticised Nolan literally in the previous thing we just did. for not having any style. This movie is all style. It's so stylish. It's oozing with style. It's dripping in sauce. It really is, like start to finish. There is just the most outrageously perfect and thematically perfect, beautiful moment where it's that bird's eye view shot that's coming down to Batman in the water as he's rescuing people and the fire coming out the side. And it is just so perfect. You will never find a shot like that in a Nolan movie ever. Ever. Nothing will look
great
that good.
Great lighting as well, just generally speaking as well.
Just shot so beautifully.
Yeah. The colours, such care for like what colours and the shadows and it's just
a lot of red and black.
A lot of red and black, a lot of orange.
Good Halloween movie.
Great.
That's
Halloween
what I was
movie.
thinking.
Yeah,
we watched it in a good era.
A friend of mine watched it the last Halloween. Like that was his Halloween film, and he really liked it. It was definitely a appropriate one to watch.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I'd say
Halloween
it's more
film.
of a first week of November film.
You're a glass half empty kind of guy.
Well, it takes place. Yeah, I don't know. It's only on Halloween for like a few minutes, and then the rest is the first week of November. Sorry, guys. It's just when it's set.
Fair.
Yeah, I got some interesting stuff to say about this film. Oh fuck, I had a question though.
So, what do we think of the Riddler, the actor of the Riddler? Because I want to talk about this.
Paul Dano.
Because I love him a lot, but people don't like him. I remember I heard a critic talk about him in There Will Be Blood and saying things like, "Oh, this is just a kid trying to act as hard as he can."
Yeah, he's trying to act against what's his name.
But he's not. I disagree. I think he's acting with. I think he adds such an atmosphere. I don't understand any of the critiques of Paul Dano's acting at all. Personally, I think
agree.
he's superb. I think
he's one of the best.
He's extravagant, but like one of the best. Absolutely, he plays that freak
he's
weirdo.
Good at playing a little. Yeah, a little.
It's so heightened. It's like perfect. It's so heightened. It just burst through any critics.
He's definitely been typecast at this point. Like I can't see him not playing a weirdo. I can't see him playing a normal person.
But it's likely just what he's best at. Like Jesse Eisenberg, if you noticed, he actually does just play the same guy over and over again. And if you watch him in interviews, that's actually kind of who he is.
Yeah. But I think it's different with Paul Dano because I haven't seen him in many interviews, but he doesn't come across as...
He seems normal in interviews. Actually.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny, Ben? Do you know what just crossed my mind? Could you imagine if I said the same thing about the kid that played Joffrey Baratheon? It's like, actually, he's just a bit like that. You know, he just goes home to his mom and, you know, gets out a bow and arrow and starts shooting the neighbours. Starts murdering prostitutes. Oh, no. But yeah, I love Paul Dano in this movie. And what did you guys think of the riddles? Did you like the riddles?
They're just puns.
Riddles.
They're just puns.
Puns.
Yeah.
They're not riddles at all.
Yeah,
riddles.
There's some riddles in there.
What does a liar do when he dies? He lies still.
Okay, so
that's not a pun.
Well,
that's a riddle. That's a riddle.
It's not a riddle. It's a joke.
I don't know.
So
there was another joke as well. That's one of my notes. Is the riddles are just bad jokes.
Yeah,
that's funny. Maybe they are.
I think I don't have that many criticisms of this film because, in short, the first time I watched this film was I actually watched the midnight premiere, and it was I think the first time in years that I actually been to a cinema that was absolutely packed. And it wasn't just packed, but like it was packed full of Batman fans. So you actually had some people that I knew dressed up as the Riddler, dressed up as Batman, the Joker. Like it was like Comic-Con, but just for Batman fans, pretty much. And it was really, really fun. Like definitely added to the atmosphere. And I remember when I watched it the first time, loved it. Like I probably would have given it a 10 out of 10 on that first viewing. I just loved it that much. And then I saw it, I think maybe like a week or two later when I was visiting a friend of mine. And he hadn't seen the Batman, and like spur of the moment, I said, "Oh, let's just go and watch it." Loved it as much, but I saw it this time, and there were a few gripes I did have with it. And I think I think one of the gripes that I had was the nature of the riddles. Like they didn't really come across as riddles so much, so they came across just as puns.
Thumb drive.
Okay, Thumb Drive was good.
That's a joke, isn't it?
That was good. Yeah.
Funny. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. They're all jokes.
Yeah, and I think some of them were really good, but I think there was one Was it the final card? I think when they finally find his lair, which reminded me so much of when the police found Kevin Spacey's lair in Seven. And
I mean, the comparisons are endless.
Yeah, and then I think when they opened up the card, it just came up with this really cliche thing where it said "See you in hell," and I just thought, like, that came across as
that's when Bruce Wayne, I think, gets it, isn't it?
Oh,
that's the one to Bruce Wayne, not at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was on
not
towards
that it
the
really
end.
matters to the point that you're making, but yeah.
Yeah, the point being that I think it got to the point where, it didn't feel like he was being clever. Like, it felt as if from that point it was being a little bit cliche. I also thought there were some scenes when, I don't know what you two thought of this, but there were some lines of dialogue between Jim Gordon and Batman that I thought just felt unnecessary. It felt like they were just repeating what they saw.
I'll be honest. I really do not like who played Gordon in this.
I love
Jim Wright. I think he does it really well.
Jeffrey, I think.
Oh yeah.
I need a little more.
I like him. He's very good. He gives like the wholesome, like, one good cop vibe very well. And
he does. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, you can just tell he cares.
I like him. I like him. It could be a lot more. Maybe I'm wrong.
I really like the line delivery where he's like, "Well, you punched me in the face," something like that, when he's like whispering. It's just that scene's really good. I don't know. I like the guy.
No, I think he works well. I just thought there were some lines of dialogue that I hear them say, and I thought, oh, you really didn't need to say that. Like, I can read the card, and you can just, instead of just saying it, you can just give a look and just communicate it with the expression of your face. And there was one point, when they're questioning Kenzie at the top of the building, rather, I think Selena Kyle's captured him, like she's punching him, and he makes that reveal, and it just felt as if the reveal that Carmine Falcone is actually in charge of the whole thing. It just felt as if, from the way he executed it, as if that was meant to be a massive shock. So maybe it's just because of the third viewing, but I felt like that reveal that it was Carmine Falcone who was in charge the entire time, it felt like it was meant to be a massive deal and, a bit of a plot twist. Whereas I thought that, if he asked me early on who's behind all these things, I would have said, yeah, probably the mob boss is the guy who's actually behind all this stuff.
Sure, but I think it was more just to the extent at which, like when he was like, he's been the mayor for 20 years. I think that's sort of what it's getting at, as like, oh, it goes that far. Do you know what I mean? It's not just, and it leads it there well with the whole Wayne Foundation or whatever. I can't remember what they call it in this film.
The renewal fund.
Project. The renewal fund, yeah, like that. It's all tied to that. I like the way that unfolded. It made sense to me. It didn't really stick out as.
Yeah, I thought that was good. I just thought that scene with Kenzie just felt like a dead rubber, really.
Sure.
But yeah, and I guess one last gripe that I had. I did think that the final act did drag, and when you see,
I fully agree. It's sort of just unnecessary.
Like when you see all the goons, they're snipers, and they're all like dressed up as the Riddler. There are just quite a few scenes there where
then.
Yeah, and there are quite a few scenes where Batman's fighting them. I just think there's no need to see me for me to see him fighting five more of these goons.
I like the fighting, and to be fair,
it looks cool.
I take that back. I take back what I said about it not really being necessary. If I did say that, I definitely thought it. But it is necessary to the character arcs and also the thematics, which I think the film's going for, that I'll get into a bit later. And guys, it's about capitalism. I'm joking, sort of, not really, but that's not my main point. But it is a bit about capitalism. But yeah, Batman wants to fuck, man. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's a horny fucking
sexual
film.
tension is
Oh, Ben. Do you think Batman, this Batman, Rob Pattinson's Batman, is a virgin?
Do you think he's a virgin?
Oh, this has been discussed, hasn't it? It wouldn't surprise me. Like when you consider the lifestyle he leads.
Yeah,
and the way he's around.
Whenever any human talks to him that isn't Alfred, or when he's wearing a bat suit.
Yeah, but
you're going to lose all your money. I don't care about that.
Yeah,
well, we can't do this if you lose the money. Do you see?
Yeah, he's just like a full-on emo, isn't he?
He's such a he really is.
Like the Nirvana score.
The Nirvana is so funny.
Oh, it's awesome. Did you guys notice that? And I totally listened to this, and I'm probably stupid for this, but Batman's theme song is essentially the same as the Nirvana song, but in minor key, I think. And the Riddler's theme song is Ave Maria in minor.
Cool.
I think that's what Pearl said. Shout out Pearl.
Shout out Pearl.
Oh, it's in minor. Anyway, I don't know about all that crap. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's the same. Like it's like do 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 do, and then his theme is
dun 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 dun. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if that is the case, I never noticed that. Yeah, that's cool.
Also, it's fucking sick, man. It fits the vibe so well, the Nirvana song. I wish they played it a few more times.
It really fits the vibe.
And I'm going to be pissed if they don't pick a new Nirvana song for the sequel.
They will.
Or like a Deftones song or something like that.
But you know what I think is one of the most impressive things about this film? It was the sound design. Like every single tearing of duct tape, every punch, every like footstep in the rain, every raindrop. Like it's so heightened. And
his boots have a Spurs sound effect, which is fucking sick.
A Spurs sound effect.
Yeah,
like cowboy Spurs on the back of their boots.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounded like that. No, I thought it was
so
sound
cool,
and
fantastic.
I loved how
and when the Batmobile turns on.
Oh, that is I think one of the best intros for a vehicle. Like you just you hear the zoom and you see the lights and
it's so
rugged.
Got me
so gassed, like way more than anything in the Nolan films. Like it was so exciting. I was just like, because it's a normal car, it just seems more.
That's something. This is
sick.
Something. Yeah. So you segued us onto a question that I was thinking about so much up to this podcast. Is this better than The Dark Knight? Is it?
I like it more on a personal level, like I said about Batman Begins, but it's just not better because it's less interesting to me than The Dark Knight, and the pacing issues are just a bit more of a point against it than any of the negatives I have about The Dark Knight. So unfortunately, no.
But you, on a personal level, though,
yeah, it's made for me.
Yeah,
I couldn't have made a better Batman movie.
Yeah, fair.
When I first watched it, I don't think I was ever in doubt that this was the Nolan's film had been surpassed, but I do remember thinking this is really, really close. And I think there are some things that this film does do better. And I think if you're someone who's interested in comic book Batman, this is definitely definitely like the film for you.
Dream.
That's basically what I decided on. Is the only way to sort of determine the two, discern between the two.
And do you know what?
And it. To me, they are like very, very different, and it's almost apples and oranges. But because of the fact that they are both Batman movies, you can sort of determine which one is the better Batman movie about the Batman character, which one is maybe more faithful, or which one more accurately explores the themes that Batman is centrally about, right? The Dark Knight is very much a Joker movie more than it is maybe a Batman movie. And there are lots of... Batman is, like, arguably not the main character in The Dark Knight. Arguably. Or at least one of three or four main characters.
Or the most... he doesn't affect the movie as much as the Joker does. Like, I get what you're saying.
But in The Batman, it absolutely is a Batman movie, and there are some very cool themes that I'm sure Matt is absolutely itching like a crackhead to get going with. But yeah, like you said, and exactly my thoughts, to be honest. The Dark Knight is it's not my thoughts, unfortunately. The Dark Knight is a better movie, and I enjoy it far more, and I prefer it. I just do. We're talking about
the Dark Knight more than this one?
Yeah, I just do, man. I just do. Yeah, I didn't think I would, but like I said, the grandiosity of The Dark Knight and the acting and the scale and it's just this amazing like moment in time for film, isn't it? It really is. Like whether you want to believe that or not, that it just is. And so that adds in a lot for me, and I just like the scale. I like big Go big or go home, and Nolan went huge.
When I was rewatching this recently in preparation for this episode, I really couldn't tell if I was gonna prefer this or not to The Dark Knight. Like I honestly couldn't tell until it got to when did he get to? I think it was once you actually get to Riddler's lair, and yeah, again like the final act kicks in. I think it was at that point where I thought, no, I think The Dark Knight just has it because I think of that pacing issue. But I think I think Matt Reeves has done a really good job here. And I think it's and it's not just
no
because
on
as a film
Mm.
it's really like stylized in the style of the comic book. But I think to do this after what Nolan did with the Dark Knight trilogy, like I don't know how other directors would have actually fared, like in the event of that shadow being cast over them, because that is a big shadow to actually live up to. I mean, yeah, the third one's not great, but the first two, you know, like they're really difficult ones to actually surpass. Or not even surpass, but like just go in a different direction.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. No, you're absolutely right. In order to try and stand up to those Batman Begins and The Dark Knight and have your own, and have people be like, actually, you know what, it's debatable to see whether or not this third best movie on IMDb, hugely adored by the masses, is that something we can live up to? And Matt Reeves is like, bang, actually, yeah, here you go.
Yeah, and what's crazy is he doesn't strike me, or like, at least, this is going to sound rude, he seems more like what they call a journeyman filmmaker, rather than like an auteur. Because like, what's he done?
Can you explain that? Just because I know what an auteur is, but I don't know what journeyman is.
Cloverfield movies.
Journeyman is more like
it's a pub.
It's a pub, but it's like you do. I'm going to struggle to explain this. They call Ron Howard a journeyman filmmaker. You give him a script, he'll get it to you on time and under budget. And he's not like a creative force. He's just a good filmmaker. So Matt Reeves, he did Cloverfield, which is it's a found footage Godzilla movie essentially. I don't like it very much at all. And then he did a remake of Let the Right One In. Is that him? I think that's him.
Is this really like harsh to say? Movie. But are these journeyman directors? Would you say that they're not so much artists, but they're more?
Yeah,
like, you give them a job and they'll execute it. Like they're almost like a manager.
Pretty much.
Is it like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it because you can make. I find it a bit of a rude term. I'm just gonna.
It doesn't sound disparaging. Like why is it journeyman?
No, it shouldn't be. People call Christopher Nolan a journeyman as well.
I love that. I actually really like that. I don't know why.
But
I know it's against my hatred of capitalist instinct, but there is something cool about a guy that this is literally like, right, okay, let's get to work here. Let's get this job done. Let's deliver this. I really like that for some reason.
Nolan's definitely no tour. Like you might not like his style, but he definitely has a distinctive style.
But he doesn't always like write, and again, there is that clinical nature to some of his filmmaking. I do agree.
He's probably the very best journeyman.
That's possible, or the worst.
I don't think he's a journeyman. Like you always insist on creative control, and like whenever people talk about a Nolan film, like you've discussed it before, Haroon, about how like you think his style is really clinical, and like desaturated colors. Like that is a style at the end of the day. It might not be like bombastic with all the colors and whatnot, but it is a style. And obviously he's got the exposition problem. He loves IMAX cameras. Like whenever he gets a chance to use those,
so tricky.
he definitely has a distinctive style.
I can only talk on what I like and what I don't like when it comes to the style. It's fundamentally subjective. Look at this color. Do you like the color? This color doesn't make me feel happy because of this, right? It doesn't. Yeah, maybe you're right. But if you like boring colors and you don't like bright colors, then you're a boring person. And your movie sucks. Give me bright colours. I want to see cool shit happen on the screen. Make it look pretty. Make my eyes happy. And the Batman makes my eyes so happy. B-roll some beautiful The Batman clips, please. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, my point about Matt Reeves.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Just like so many things in The Batman make me happy. For instance, when Paul Dano, the mayor is in his room and he's moving around and he moves to the left and Paul Dano's not there. He moves to the left and he's not there. And he moves to the left and he's behind and it's the scariest thing in the world. And it's like a very stylish, small little addition at very little cost, just using a bit of brain power to understand lighting and the impact of a scene quite well, right? That is something that, as well, Nolan is just a bit afraid of trying these smaller, cooler ideas, which he actually does incredibly well in The Prestige out of all of the movies I've seen so far, where it's subtle and it's weaved in really perfectly. Yeah, that's
I think he's good at weaving in ideas generally in his films. Like, I think it's done well in The Dark Knight. I think it's done well in Inception. Okay, maybe I can't.
No,
name
but
that
I'm
many
talking
others,
about
but...
doing it in a really quite kind of subtle part of way that it's just like the fabric of the movie, as well as in like having it shoved down your throat like it is in The Dark Knight, but give me more dinner, please. That's the nice thing about the Batman. It's just sexy. It's woven
really
into the
looking.
fabric of the movie. Yeah.
I do like how you'll just look at some scenes and you just think that looks so cool. Like, in Zoe Kravitz is wearing the red wig
endlessly,
and she's walking down the corridor and you see the strobe lights and you hear the doom, doom,
it's outrageous.
Doom.
It's outrageous.
It's insanely cool.
The first Batman club fight as well, where he's like beating everyone up on the stairs.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, looking for me.
It's
easy,
brutal.
No, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. I like it when he throws the bat at someone's head. That's just funny. I like a bit of slapstick comedy here and there.
Yeah, I also like. We haven't even mentioned Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Well, do you know
it
when
is
he's
the
being
weirdest
interrogated?
thing that
He
he's
says,
the
"What's
Penguin.
this? Good cop, bad shit cop." the whole thing.
Go up, Espanol, fellas.
Yeah. Like El Rada. Am I the only one who's Spanish that's up the scratch? No, he's so good in this. They're all so good.
The Penguin
John
show's amazing,
Turturro,
guys. By the way,
I still haven't seen it. Worth watching.
Yeah, 100%. And
Okay.
watching this after having watched it is like, it's very satisfying. Obviously, it takes place after, but you just get to know the Penguin on a much deeper level, and it's sick. And
I might actually watch the first episode after this recording, actually, because
you should. It's only 8 episodes as well. Flies by. Really
nice.
Good. The mother from How I Met Your Mother is in it, and she's amazing.
Yeah, I saw that.
She's so good. She's fucking fantastic.
Okay.
It's very cartoony as well, and there's a lot of debate about whether this film, and I guess by extension the Penguin show, is like ashamed to be a comic book movie, but it's so like comic booky and like cheesy and campy. There's an episode in Arkham Asylum in the Penguin show. Oh, it's not called Arkham Asylum, I don't think. It's called like Arkham State Hospital or some shit, and it is just like the most comic booky. It's low-key incredibly offensive portrayal of mental health, but I just don't give a shit because it's just like, oh yeah, it's Batman. Like, it's of course it's theatrical and it's comic, isn't it? Like, it's good shit. I don't think they're ashamed at all. It's so comic booky.
No, it is good.
Shit. Can I get into my little thesis about the movie?
Sure.
So there was a video by FD Signifier recently.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Shout out FD Signifier.
Okay, I just want to ask.
I love him though.
So how do you guys come across these like film YouTubers? Because I thought I'd come across the biggest one.
He's not
a film
He's
YouTuber.
a lefty. Yeah, he's a political YouTuber. But he's got like
good hip hop videos.
Yeah, he's got a lot of he's got these 2 videos about, I can't remember if he calls them this or not, but basically white incel movies, like white incel spree shooter movies. And his most recent video was about Joker 2 and who holds the responsibility for these characters being misunderstood and misappropriated by these freaky incels who, see themselves in these violent, evil, nasty characters, and then sometimes will go and do some real life violence about it. For example, the Dark Knight Rises shooter. There's a lot.
Oh, I thought there was a shooter for the Dark Knight as well.
It was at the premiere of the Dark Knight Rises.
Based
on they had like Joker hair or something. They didn't really. It was very tenuous link, but it was at the Dark Knight Rises premiere or opening day. I can't remember. We might have to cut some of this more provocative
seriously
terminology out, just for like YouTube censors. I don't know if you want to talk about spree shooters, but yeah, well, we need to leave it in because I'm about to talk about how it ties into the film. So again, these films like Taxi Driver, like Fight Club, like American Psycho are all
Should
about...
I read the list out?
Yeah, that list that Haroon read earlier, in the either next episode or previous episode, depending on which order we release in, inspire some real life freaks who misunderstand the movie. And this FD Signifier guy was posing whether that's the director's fault or whether it's just like a part of the process of creating art is that you're going to get people misunderstand it. I think this movie is a direct critique on that. And that's the Batman's central character arc is learning that he's been misunderstood and misappropriated by this. He's an incel, really, the Joker. He's a 4chan or like Reddit dwelling vlogger.
When you say so, am I correct in thinking that the penny drops with Batman when he hears the Riddler goon saying "I'm vengeance"? And he realizes that these other people are actually...
For sure, but also when the Riddler's in the cell and he's like, we did it together, didn't we? Like, that whole scene as well is basically part of it. And yeah, tying into the characterization where he's like a vlogger and he's like, come on guys, let's get me to 500
like, first
followers.
of all, thanks for all the follows and all the advice.
Yeah,
and he's in the
all that
comments
shit.
saying, oh, use a rifle. Use this, use that.
Do you guys know who Elliot Roger is?
Yeah. Again, I don't like talking about any of this stuff, but
so
right.
it's basically, I think it's all about that. And I can't remember the note I wrote on my phone.
To be honest, no, mate,
don't
that
worry
is
about
it. It is all about the Elliot Rodgers stuff. That's
Bruce Wayne learning that maybe a better way to go about this is to focus more on helping people rather than vengeance, which is a purely personal, selfish motivation rather than to try and actually create a better world that he wants to live in. And his idea that he has brought into himself, brought into this world by being the Batman and thinking he's going to try do good. He learns that this other person has taken it and inspired 500 of his followers to then turn it into an act of terrorism, purely for... And the Riddler's motivation is purely like, well, I guess it's vengeance. He
I was going to say,
starts by making a political point, but at the end he just turns to mass slaughter. So it's for nothing, and it's because he's angry that he got left behind, as he says many times.
Yeah,
so,
it was in the orphanage.
Yeah, and he's just acting out.
But it's really ironic, isn't it? Because he didn't do too badly for himself. Like, what is he, like a forensic accountant? Like, that's not... Like, it's something that I'm sure would have required a fair bit of skill, and you would have had to get into like uni. Not that only getting into uni is the only way to...
But his problems are deeper than that, though, because he wants to... And this is why it ties into the white incel stuff, and I'm sort of not really qualified to talk on it, but it's the sense of entitlement and the feeling that they should be important that a lot of these characters feel.
Wait, well, why aren't you entitled to talk about it?
Just because I can't... Yeah, I'm just not clever enough to put it into words in the socio-political situations that cause white men to be violent, angry freaks.
How did you guys find the outfit?
Awesome. Best one ever.
Best one ever?
Yeah, it's good. And I like the...
Actually, I find his nose a bit funny. Also, is he carrying that around?
Really?
Bag?
Let me see that. Hang on.
When he's wearing his like biker suit and then suddenly he's in his Batman suit, or the other way round, is that what he's got in his bag? And how does that fit? He must be wearing like the main bit underneath his outfit and then just the armor plates he's got in his bag.
I don't know why.
It's a bit weird.
I don't know why he decides to change, because you've got like you said, he's going on his bike from like A to B.
It's a little bit more inconspicuous.
The nose is weird.
True.
The Batman nose is weird. That's so freaky now that I'm noticing that.
by the police. So if he was like going around on a bike on his Batman outfit, he just might get more trouble than if he was, just wearing a helmet and sort of a no one. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Too much.
But no, I thought the suit was really good. It definitely had like a DIY look, which I thought was consistent with the Batmobile itself.
Yeah, and Zoe Kravitz is in this movie. She just is.
Oh, I want to talk about superhero fatigue. I was going to bring this up with the Dark Knight episode, but
okay.
But it was too long.
What, with this Christopher Reeves Batman movie, Matt Reeves Batman movie, Christopher Reeves is not that Superman. Man. Yes, he was kicked in the back by a horse and quadriplegic.
There's a film coming out about him actually
until he died.
Yeah, with a movie like this, I think superhero fatigue for me is more like a Marvel formula superhero
This was
fatigue.
my thing. I wrote this.
That's what I wanted to say, yeah. I am not fatigued by The Batman or
movie.
The Dark Knight. I am not in the slightest at all. I love this. And they could make 9 more and I would watch all of them. And with the Penguin, like, I get that it's still sort of DC. It's DC Comics, but I do not feel like I'm watching the superhero fatigue vibe at all.
I think it is purely MCU fatigue and to a wider point about the humor in these films and how do I word this? A lot of the comedy in these two Batman films, it's just funny, and at some points it's like self-aware when it's like leaning into like the goofiness of some stuff, but the MCU isn't self-aware, it's self-conscious, and that's why it's so like it's just shit.
But,
and it's trying to get ahead of you criticizing it by being like, oh yeah,
it's not self-aware, it's self-conscious. Yeah, that's a very good distinction, isn't it?
Yeah, and my issue with the MCU is that when I watch those films, and it is a rarity when I watch them, but whenever I have, I just find that the humor they use, it's all done with the intention of, if you like, undercutting the seriousness of it.
Yeah.
Because that's something I really liked about the humor that Nolan includes in his Batman films. At no point do I think it cheapens the film. I think it actually just gives a lighthearted touch. Whereas with Marvel films,
and even when it is like a out of like naturalistic delivery, like some of these edits in the scene where Harvey Dent's being transported, and like that one cop is like quipping, and it's like cutting away with such comedic timing, but it doesn't feel. How can I word this?
Which scene
it doesn't
you're
undercut
to?
it. So when he's like, they're gonna need something bigger to get through this. What is that, a bazooka?
Oh yeah.
It's like it's cut in a way that doesn't feel real. Like it's not like a real person telling a real joke. It's a joke within the movie through the editing, but it's not self-conscious of like it's not trying to like whatever you said a second ago about how the MC.
Yeah. Because. So I think that there was one joke. There was one example I saw of this recently, and it was Thor's chained up, and I think he's at the mercy of the villain.
Inoffensive, piss off man.
I don't know which film this is from. I just saw an
circles.
excerpt of it, and the issue is that Thor's facing the wrong way. He's not facing the villain, and he's just saying, "Oh, let me just spend some time like turning around," and basically he's there, and you're just slowly rotating, and like it just. The film's going out of its way to include. Yeah, like the film's going out of its way to include a joke, and it just reminds you that those films, there's nothing really at stake. Even though, on paper, when you watch those films, there's technically more at stake in those films than you would have with a Batman film. Because with all the Batman films, there's nothing bigger at stake than just a city, albeit a big city. Whereas in Marvel films,
there's a lot ideologically at stake.
Yeah, but whereas with the Marvel films, you've got the entire universe or
something,
the entire Earth or whatever it is, but it never feels like that because of all the jokes they just include to undercut it time and time again. And it's because they don't take it seriously.
So with the MCU and with Marvel, let me just explain this whole thing, right? So Stan Lee, he made a villain, and then he made a bigger villain, and then he made a bigger villain, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and they were just trying to make the next scariest thing. and made Galactus, which was like the planet-eating monster. But Stan Lee wasn't an idiot, right? Because you can keep going, but it's about like motivation as well to keep things interesting. Galactus is not a malignant evil thing. What it is hungry. It's just hungry. It's just this force of nature more than anything. Exactly. It's just about the motivation.
Thanos in the comics as well?
It's so cool. No.
Thanos in the comics, he falls in love with death, the concept of death, the woman.
Oh,
and he's doing it to impress her. Yeah, Deadpool as well goes out with
Thanos gets cucked by Deadpool, I think.
The universe to impress her, when in the movie they like try make it some like less cool thing, in my opinion.
So what I'm trying to say is that the MCU, there is so much there to be taken, and it just depends what you want to take out of it. And Disney just want cheap laughs for a big audience, rather than like with Batman. There are so many directions you can go clearly with any source material. I mean, The Dark Knight is so different to the Batman. They are like, it's like, how even are these related? And it's just because they come from the same source material. They've gone completely different directions. So it's nothing on Marvel Comics or anything like that. It purely is just the product line of Marvel, MCU, Disney that wanted to do cheap laugh, big profit. And that's my 2 cents on that. And also, I just want to say one more thing as well. Like, I haven't really thought about that distinction of being self-aware and self-conscious. Like, Marvel's being self-conscious is actually cheap. Instead of being self-aware of itself, which it wouldn't dare to do because, you know, it's kind of shameful, isn't it? A lot of Marvel movies. It's like shameless money-grabbing nonsense, right? But I was going to say the Raimi trilogy is the exact opposite. They're completely self-aware and completely unconscious.
Serious.
Completely serious.
Take it seriously.
Yeah, and I would go further than that. It's not just the Raimi films. Like, you look at the X-Men films, and yeah, some of them are a bit goofy, but I don't get that sort of lack of seriousness.
There's still some.
There is still some in the X-Men, but
I never remember thinking it was cheap. It was like, I remember watching these films.
But you kind of have to. You kind of have to. But I think you kind of have to with the X-Men, because it is like X-Men is super fucking goofy. It really is so goofy.
I've never read any comics, so
at least he doesn't have metal claws coming out of his hands, and his arch nemesis is somebody that can control metal. Like, you actually have to be a bit self-conscious about writing a movie like that. It's kind of impossible to keep that serious, right?
But that's the thing. I think they did actually remain pretty serious, or at least many of them did.
Yeah, they do. The self-consciousness of that comes more with like the costumes. They didn't want to do that, but recently it's come out and said that the studio were just like, yeah, do leather because the Matrix is big. So you never really know the thoughts behind these decisions.
I think one thing I was going to say was that I think with Marvel films in general, like MCU films rather, I just never get the sense that there's a creative stamp being left by whoever's in charge.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Journeyman before.
It's rare that they manage to like get it.
Yeah, like every single director who's gone on, like just using that term that you use, like, it feels like they are a journeyman. Like, just we'll hand you the reins, but don't cock it up too much.
Disney
then
forces them to.
Person.
It's a weird thing. Disney is quite malicious. Is malicious the right word? Sneaky fucking bastards about it, because they'll get a filmmaker who's just made one indie film, low budget, like I think it's Chloe Zhao or something, made I think Nomad Land.
Oh, the Eternals. No, the Eternals.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of. And so she'd made I think one, maybe two really low budget films, moderate success, sweep her up, no creative voice
control,
and no creative control. It's just Marvel garbage, and then that director like takes the fall. Same happened with the Marvels. Same happens with basically everything. I mean, fucking the Russo brothers, they've just managed to play well, but they were TV directors who made some shit fucking like comedy movies.
You can prove that as well. You can prove that hypothesis as well, because when you watch Multiverse of Madness and how much of a stylish director Sam Raimi actually
Yeah.
is, and you can tell like where is the Sam Raimi in this movie? It's occasionally there.
There's
Yeah,
some,
yeah. I was just about to say. So that's actually one of the few Marvel films I do actually like. I know they got panned,
Yeah.
but I actually quite like that film. And you know when you've got
I
that
don't
scene
mind
of the skeleton
When they're
at
in the
end,
house.
like that looks very Sam Raimi.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Like he gets it in there, but like just.
Yeah.
Take out.
You can tell there was a
Take
lot
out
of
all of that.
persuasion.
Yeah, a lot of
or just
compromise for
reshoots
sure.
without his consent. Like they do that a lot. They're doing that right now with the new Captain America movie. There's been a big leak recently where like they've basically come out and said, yeah, the person who directed this barely fucking directed.
That's the thing. Like I don't understand it when people I know will say something like, "Oh yeah, I'm really excited for this Marvel film." And I say, "Oh, like why is that? Are they just going to be the same as always?" And they say, "No. This really cool director did this really cool film. He's taking the reins." And I just think, yeah, but what makes you think they're going to have control? Like,
Exactly.
what makes you think they're going to have control? There's no chance.
There is a way of saving the MCU. There is a way, and they need to start making some 18, some 15, some like proper fuck
They
shit.
just need to not give a
but
fuck
actually
about the
good.
continuity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't drop the continuity. Make some one-offs. You know, like the Wolverine Japan movie that we all love.
Amazing.
We absolutely love that. And he pulls he
X-Men
turns to the
never
side,
gave a fuck
and he pulls
about
the sword. Exactly. He pulls the sword out of his chest on that side on angle. Like there is just nothing yet from Marvel that gives me that really epic sort of feeling of, damn, this guy is an actual war machine.
The problem comes with studio mandated films rather than, someone has an idea for a film they want to make.
Yeah.
It's like,
and they can save it. There's still time to save it.
Not Batman. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they won't.
There's still time. There's still time. They just have.
As long as they're raking it in.
Lower budget, high quality movie, and that all. If that impresses, like grown. The thing is, a lot of people that have grown to love Marvel are a lot older now. So the Marvel needs to grow with their audience. Kids aren't into movies really anymore. Yeah. And my brother doesn't really watch much Marvel movies. They need to make movies for us if they want to maintain their audience. We are the audience at the end of the day.
Can we talk about the Joker actually? What do you guys think of that? And have you seen the other scene that's on YouTube?
I have.
Barry Keoghan.
Yeah.
I think that's way better than the one in the film. It's shit in the film. I actually find that so cringy.
What are you talking about?
Also, he's just doing an Irish accent.
What are you talking about?
The Joker.
Yeah, the Irishness
does
come
Batman.
through.
The Joker in the Batman at the end. Yes. Yeah.
Barry Keoghan is the Joker.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to think about it when I first heard it. I don't think he'll be overshadowed by the Joaquin Phoenix or Heath Ledger because I think he's going like proper comic booky, and you've obviously seen the video that appeared on YouTube, and he looks the comic book part as well, like really really heavy makeup. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've heard some people say that they don't think he will be the villain in the next one, but he'll be someone the Batman comes to, almost like a Hannibal Lecter figure, like in Silence of the Lambs, where he'll go to him and say, "Oh, I've got this problem.
That
How do you
would
do
be
it?"
so cool.
Well, that's basically what the scene that was cut is.
I hope that is the case. That sounds fucking sick.
Yeah, I'd like him to be in it in a bit more capacity than he was in this film.
I want the Joker to. I want the Joker to be like a word of advice man that Batman has to come to. That sounds like such a cool dynamic. Why would Batman ever
trust him? Like, it is
exactly, because if you can make that work, that's like a cool part of like things in general. Especially, I harken back to chess occasionally, but if a move looks impossible but it's actually playable, it's usually good. So yeah, makes sense of that.
Yeah.
If they can make the Joker Batman's advisor, how cool of a dynamic would that be? It sounds impossible, but if they pull that off, that would be fucking sick. Just would be.
Yeah, I don't know what they should do in terms of the villains in the next one. I mean, Matt, I guess you have a better idea given you've seen the Penguin. The Owls.
Yeah, the Court of Owls. It's a good little storyline. I think that's one of the first ones I read. They seem like they're doing that. There's a scene in the Penguin where he's in a courtroom and some curtains look owl shaped, and basically through the whole press run of the Batman, Paul Dano and Robert Pattinson were like, I hope they do the Court of Owls next, guys. That'd be really cool if they did the Court of Owls next.
I'm confused.
But also,
what's the Court of Owls?
Just a Batman storyline. It's cool. It's really cool. You'll like it. It's like a little conspiracy thing. It's fucking sick, and it makes sense tonally with the references that they go for in the Batman, like Chinatown and shit. Like very conspiracy detective movie stuff. Oh, I really
videos on that.
Yeah, don't bother watching it. Because if they do it, then you'll see it. Well, you'll see it in the movie. But I don't know. I guess it's fine. You can watch that.
Batman Court of Owls complete story, 1.2 million views. I'll be watching that.
Right. Should we do ratings?
Yep.
Yes.
9 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Hey.
I thought you'd have a higher score, Arun.
Nah, it's an 8. It's an 8. It misses a couple beats. Like you're saying, the pacing ain't quite there. It is a COVID movie. There's not a lot of like when Matt pointed that out to me, I was like, "Fuck, it is definitely a COVID movie."
I never noticed that. I never clocked that.
Yeah, I didn't until Matt pointed it out, and that
it didn't bother me that much this time round
though. It
bothered
me better.
Like, yeah, I don't know. At least they weren't like social distancing. At least in the club scene, they're like, actually chilling together. So it hides it well enough for me.
If you watch No Time to Die, No Way Home, apparently that's really obviously a good movie. But I saw that in the cinema and I didn't notice it at all the time.
Fucking sucks. I hate that movie. One of my least favorite things ever.
Was that the biggest theme park rides of all theme parks, do you say?
Yeah, until yeah. I was gonna say until Deadpool and Wolverine,
No
but
Time to Die.
No Way Home, he's saying, brother.
Oh, No Way Home.
The Spider-Man.
I think there's fun to be had in No Way Home, to be honest. The novelty exists.
I like seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and that's where it ends.
Doc Ock. I like seeing Willem Dafoe.
Sure.
I like seeing.
But
Maguire.
I'd like seeing them more if they weren't just going, my back, my back. I'm something of a scientist myself.
Yeah, as soon as you said I'm something of a scientist myself, I thought this film is just 100% meme.
Dog shit. Fucking piece of shit.
I mean, I liked it.
It's still my childhood.
I do remember that was a gripe of mine.
You're an adult, Haroon.
I know.
Childhood's dead and it's never coming back.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. Matt, Ben, thank you very much for joining yourselves and me on The Batman by Matt Reeves. Enjoy your days and come back for more movie talk on Gateway Cinema. Over and out.
Bye.
Lahey Memento next week.
I can't wait. God damn.